Okay, so if you're anything like me, a pretty rational adult, you've probably had this conversation with yourself about your past. You say, maybe even a bit defensively, look, I don't remember any major trauma. My upbringing was fine. Normal, even. Nothing really happened.
And, well, consciously. That
Yeah.
feels absolutely true. We tend to think if a memory isn't neatly filed, labeled trauma,
Yeah.
it just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But the body, the psyche, they're on a completely different clock. When you step away from that conscious daytime thinking, the internal evidence, well, it starts talking back.
Right. That's the part that gets you, like in those quiet moments.
Yeah.
Why do you suddenly, freeze up when voices get raised, even if it's got nothing to do with you? Or why do you catch yourself apologizing before you've even said anything, like just for having an opinion?
Or think about that constant pressure, the need to keep busy, keep moving, keep achieving. Why does just being still sometimes feel, I don't know, dangerous, like something bad is about to happen?
Yeah, restless.
And then there's the flip side. You get genuine praise, maybe real acceptance, and there's this little voice inside whispering.
Oh, I know that voice.
They don't really know you. If
Yeah.
they did, they wouldn't stick around.
Exactly. And that voice, that quiet, skeptical part of you, that's what we're diving into today. It's not speaking in clear stories or memories you can pinpoint.
No.
This is the language of the unconscious. And, well, according to everything we've looked at, the unconscious, it really doesn't forget.
So our mission really is to go down there, into that buried place. We need to start understanding the language of the psyche's defense system. Try and decode these messages that aren't coming through as memory.
But as symptoms.
Right.
The things we actually feel and do.
Exclusively as symptom, yes.
Okay. So where do we start? I guess back at the beginning. The nursery.
Well, let's call it the nursery, sure.
Oh.
But we're not talking about wallpaper or cribs.
No, not literally.
We're talking about that very first environment where you, as a tiny human, first learned what it meant to be small. Small in power, maybe small in voice, or just feeling unsafe. It's often in the gaps, isn't it? The silences between the nice moments. Or maybe a parent was physically there, but emotionally absent, or maybe they needed you too much. That early map of the world gets drawn then.
And sometimes what happens there, whether it's big chaos or just that drip, drip, drip of conditional love, it's just too much for a little kid's mind to handle.
Absolutely. A child can't exactly file a complaint, can they? They can't say, hey, this feels like betrayal or your indifference is terrifying without risking, well, everything. Losing the caregiver is the ultimate fear.
Total annihilation, basically.
So the psyche does something pretty drastic. It pulls an emergency brake.
Okay.
It performs what honestly is a feat of survival. And this is what we call repression. You might hear the fancy term for draining. But essentially, it's the mind making a pact with itself.
Like a deal.
Kinda. Look, if we keep thinking about this feeling, this fear, this truth, we're going to fall apart. So we have to lock it away completely, away from conscious thought.
But hang on, if it's locked away, totally locked away, and I genuinely don't remember it, how is it still messing with my life now? Shouldn't my adult, rational brain just overwrite it?
But that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
the core idea here. What gets repressed? It doesn't just vanish.
Okay.
It changes form. It festers, you could say. And crucially, it comes back.
Yeah.
Just not neatly labeled, not with a, hello, I'm your childhood fear.
Right. It comes back as
As a habit you can't break. A fear that makes no logical sense, a mistake you keep repeating, a physical symptom even. You're not broken, you're just running on old encrypted code.
encrypted code. Okay, I like that. So that leads us to spotting the patterns, right? Seeing the encryption in action.
Exactly, pattern recognition.
Like maybe you don't consciously remember your dad always leaving abruptly, but every single time your partner says, I'll be back soon, you feel this, not in your stomach.
That's a perfect example, that little flinch inside.
Right.
Or maybe you systematically avoid situations that feel confining. Elevators, maybe. Crowded rooms. Or even relationships that start to feel really close, really intimate.
Yeah, that feeling of being trapped.
That could absolutely be the echo of some unremembered childhood feeling. Feeling suffocated, maybe emotionally, maybe physically. The unconscious loves symbols. And its favorite way to speak. Repetition.
Okay, repetition. Which brings us to that idea that always feels, I don't know, kind of backward. Repetition compulsion. Why? Why would my adult self, who wants kindness, who wants stability, keep ending up with partners who are distant?
Yeah.
Or critical, or just unavailable? Shouldn't we naturally seek pleasure, not pain?
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But the fascinating thing is, the unconscious in these specific dynamics isn't primarily hunting for pleasure, it's hunting for familiarity.
Familiarity, even if it's bad.
even if it's painful. Because in the, let's say, twisted logic of that inner child part of us, what's familiar feels predictable. And predictable, even if it hurts, feels safer than the unknown vulnerability of real, trusting love.
Wow, so the known pain feels safer than the unknown good stuff? That's heavy.
It is. The known rejection, the coldness, you learned how to navigate as a kid. You unconsciously choose that over the sheer terror of risking genuine connection, because that safe connection feels totally foreign, destabilizing.
Because you don't have a map for it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You're stuck. You're trying unconsciously again and again to finally get the love, the safety, the recognition you never got back then, but you're playing out the old script with new actors, demanding things from ghosts, essentially.
Let's talk about Anna from the material we looked at. She learned super early that love was unpredictable. Warm 1 second, freezing the next.
It's conditional, yeah.
So she learned, be quiet, be good, be perfect, don't need anything. And as an adult, super successful. But then she finds someone safe, genuinely warm, consistent, and what does she do?
She panics.
She panics and finds a way to sabotage it, leave first.
Because that safety, that tenderness to her unconscious, it signals vulnerability. And vulnerability brings up the echo of that original, terrifying rejection. The safety self becomes the trigger.
Wow. And maybe you listening are like Anna. Or maybe you're, I don't know, Lena, who grew up with shouting, so now quiet feels wrong. You stir things up because chaos feels like home.
Or Thomas, who learned never ever show anger because anger meant being pushed away, so he swallowed it all, and now it lives in him as this heavy depression.
Yeah, and we see these things in ourselves, these patterns, and we think, what's wrong with me? Am I broken? Am I lazy?
And that's the interpretation we need to pause. We're not inherently sick. We are structured. We're operating according to these internal rules, these laws that were written when we were tiny and had no power.
Structured, not sick. I like that.
Neurosis isn't some disease, it's more like archaeology. We're digging beneath the surface of the competent adult to find the logic of that scared kid who's still influencing things.
Okay, let's stick with that idea of structure. Like the psyche is a house. Upstairs, the conscious mind is making plans, paying bills, saying everything's fine.
Rationalizing, planning, yeah.
But downstairs, in the basement,
Yeah.
that's where the terrified kid part still lives. And they're not just hiding, they're actively building defenses, walls, traps.
That's it. That's where the structure becomes really visible. These defense mechanisms, they're automatic. Unconscious strategies designed purely to keep the really unbearable stuff, the original wounds, out of your day-to-day awareness.
We should probably name a few of the big ones, because you start seeing them everywhere once you know what to look for, like projection.
Projection, yes. That's when you take feelings you can't tolerate yourself in you. Well, you see them in other people.
So, like, I can't handle my own anger, so I'm constantly convinced everyone else is angry at me.
Exactly. Or you're terrified of your own critical judgments, so you experience your boss or your friends as intensely critical. The outside world starts to look like a reflection of your disowned inner world.
Okay. And what about reaction formation? That one always seems so theatrical.
It can be. It's basically inverting a desire or feeling that feels forbidden or dangerous.
So the person who secretly longs for closeness and tenderness becomes the one who makes loud jokes about romance and mocks anyone being affectionate.
Precisely. The deep need, the vulnerability, is flipped into its exact opposite. It's a very powerful defense against feeling too exposed.
Right. And the last big one, maybe the most common when we talk about difficult pasts.
Denial.
Denial. Simple, powerful, the active refusal to acknowledge reality. It wasn't that bad. It didn't really affect me.
The psyche's emergency blanket, you called it?
It is. It keeps you functioning in the moment. But the wound underneath, it stays unaddressed, unhealed.
Okay, so these defenses are running. But what happens when we start getting close to seeing them? Maybe listening to something like this or talking honestly with someone. Suddenly you feel weird.
Yes, that's resistance. The psychoanalytic term is wider stand. That sudden urge to check your phone, feeling incredibly bored, irritated, sleepy even. Yeah, what is that?
That moment is so important. It's not just random distraction. It's the psyche's defense system kicking into high gear. It's attacking the very insight that could lead to healing. Resistance is actually a form of loyalty.
Loyalty to what?
Loyalty to that old survival pact, the one that said, don't look, don't feel, don't know, it's too dangerous. The child part in the basement is terrified that if you really see the wound, the whole adult structure will just collapse.
Wow. Okay, so if resistance is loyalty, then we have to completely rethink the symptom itself. The symptom isn't the problem, it's the messenger.
Beautifully put, yes. the messenger. Your perfectionism. Maybe it's not ambition. Maybe it's appeasement, trying to satisfy some impossible internal standard whispering, please don't leave me, see how good I am.
Appeasement. Wow.
Exactly. Perfectionism is often this tragic attempt to bargain for safety, procrastination. Maybe not laziness. Maybe it's a silent rebellion against that inner voice saying nothing you do is ever good enough anyway.
So these symptoms, they're the language the child part uses because it didn't have words back then.
Brilliant, tragic, deeply intelligent language.
Yes. And this language, this dynamic, it gets really loud in our relationships, doesn't it? Which brings us to transference. You called it the royal road to the unconscious.
It really is. Because transference is where we most clearly see the past playing out in the present. You're not just thinking about old dynamics, you're actively living them out.
How does that work?
The person you're with right now, your partner, your boss, even a friend, unconsciously, they become a stand-in, a ghost from your past. You start reacting to them not as they actually are today.
But as if they were that critical parent or that unavailable caregiver.
Exactly. You're relating to the ghost, not the person.
So maybe think about someone in your life right now who just pushes your buttons deeply, irrationally. Maybe their silence feels like a huge rejection, or a certain tone of voice just makes you want to run. Ask yourself, who did they feel like, just for a second, in your body before you could think about it?
That's the transference. That's the phantom. You're not reacting to the person in front of you. You're reacting to an old internal structure you've carried with you. It's the repetition, compulsion, live, and in color.
The unconscious keeps bringing us back to the scene of the crime.
Hoping this time we'll get it right, we'll win the love, fix the hurt. But we can't because the original people aren't there and we're still bound by those old childhood rules.
Okay, so we get the structure, we see the defenses, the patterns, the transference. But if we don't have that clear memory of the big T trauma, how do we even start to dismantle this thing that kept us safe back then but traps us now?
This is so crucial. Stop trying to be a detective, hunting for one specific event, one date, one smoking gun. That's often not how it works, and it can be frustrating.
Right.
Instead, you have to learn to listen differently. Listen to the present. Listen to your body. Where does it tense up? When? Listen to the patterns that keep repeating. Listen to your dreams even. The unconscious whispers. It sends tremors. It doesn't usually shout facts.
Okay, but like, practically. It's Tuesday morning. I just realized I avoided a great opportunity again. How do I listen then?
You pause. Right there. You notice the feeling? The fear, maybe? The shame, that urge to just bolt, and you acknowledge it, and then you gently try to identify it as belonging to that younger part of you, the child self, not the capable adult.
Oh.
This whole process.
Yeah.
This is what we call working through. Durcharbeiten is the term. And it's not about getting closure in some neat Hollywood way. It's not about erasing the past. It's about metabolizing it, integrating the wound.
So it's less about fixing what happened back then.
You can't change what happened.
And more about changing my relationship to what happened right now.
Precisely. You stop battling the symptom and you start getting curious about its message. When the perfectionism hits hard, you recognize it. Appeasement. Okay, whose approval am I still desperately trying to earn here?
Or when you want to run from a good relationship.
You recognize the fear of intimacy. Okay, what feels so terrifying about this closeness? What old danger does this tenderness stir up?
So the goal isn't to be wound-free. That's impossible.
Impossible. And probably not even desirable.
It's about becoming someone who knows their wounds intimately, but isn't run by them anymore. They don't get to drive the bus of your adult life.
That's it, exactly. We have to consciously stop living as if we are still that small, powerless child, completely at the mercy of others' moods and needs. You have to step up and become the consistent, attuned, non-judgmental parent that child inside never had.
Because that old structure, brilliant for surviving childhood,
becomes a prison in adulthood if it stays unconscious and unchanged.
So maybe the deepest thing we can leave you with today is really a call to action. It's about turning towards that child part within, with curiosity, with tenderness.
Yes.
Stop running from the only part of you that actually kept feeling things even when the world told you to shut down.
And this work, this analysis, this working through, it's probably never finished, not really. But that silence, that heavy, confusing silence around your past, that can be over. The past isn't really behind you. It's woven right into you. The invitation now is pull up a chair next to that younger self, offer them some tea, and just let them speak. Finally.